So you guys asked for a Fire King guide, so here it is. And please keep in mind, I'm not a native speaker, but I'll do my best. And I think we will start with the spells. Our main spell is Fire King Island. It's actually a pretty old card. It was released in the very first structure deck. And during your main phase, you can destroy one monster on your hand or field to grab any Fire King monsters from your deck. And I think I don't really need to explain why this is a pretty powerful card, so you can just search any engine monster in your deck. And also please try to destroy a fire monster, so you can grab Garunix to trigger its effect to special summon itself, or trigger Ponix, or trigger the destruction effects of the Fire King monsters you destroyed. But the card also has a major downside. If this card is removed from the field, it destroys all monsters you control. So in the new structure deck, Konami added Fire King Sanctuary. And when this card is activated, you place a Fire King Island from your deck to your field zone. And once per turn, if your Fire King Island would be destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy a fire monster in your hand or field instead. This is pretty useful. It will protect your field spell, but also will trigger your Fire King effects by destroying them. And if your opponent special summons a monster, you can Maxx summon with Fire King monsters you control. Of course, this is pretty useful in your opponent's turn, but more and more decks get turn 0 plays, so you also will trigger this in your own turn. And you will Maxx summon your Maxx Garunix. So, and if this card is summoned, you destroy all other monsters on the field, so you can pretty easily clear the board. And the last spell we got is Fire King Skyburn. You target an equal number of Fire King monsters you control and cards your opponent controls to destroy them. So you can either dodge targeting effects like Imperm or Valor, or you can use it as a removal to remove some nasty floodgates or any pretty high attack monsters. And it has also a pretty cool hidden effect. If Fire King cards you control be destroyed by card effects, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. But the reason I only play one copy is because, yeah, it doesn't do anything for your main engines, for your combos. If you already got your Sanctuary, you can pretty easily search for Skyburn with Ponix. So next I think we can just look at our monsters, and I think I will start with Ulcanix. So Ulcanix is one of our main starters. So if this card is summoned, you destroy one other fire monster and get any Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. Also you can adjust the level of Ulcanix by the level of the added monster. And if this card is destroyed, you can special summon the OG Garunix from your deck in defense position. So at first, yeah, it do more or less the same as Fire King Island. So you can search a different monster, any card you needed, and also if it's destroyed, it gets you access to the OG Garunix. So it's part of your main end board. It's also a pretty useful card. So it's a 3-off. The only sad part about Ulcanix is that it's not able to special summon itself. So it's your more or less main normal summon depending on your hand. The other normal summon you have is Ponix. It's a starter and extender, because if a fire monster is destroyed, you can special summon this card from your hand. So you can, for example, destroy a card with Ulcanix and search Ponix, or you already got Ponix in your hand, so you can activate Ponix and special summon it. And if this card is summoned, you get a Fire King Speller Trap from your deck to your hand. So it's your main searcher for Sanctuary, but if you already got Sanctuary, get Skyburn instead. And if Ponix gets destroyed in the next standby phase, it returns to your hand. So it's more or less an endless cycle. Okay, makes sense because it's a Phoenix. So the next monster is Garunix, the new Garunix. If a fire monster is destroyed, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. And a pretty important note is that you can activate this effect during the damage step. You can also activate Ponix during the damage step. So it's pretty hard for your opponent to negate the effects during the damage step, because most new cards negate the effect instead of the activation, and only cards that negate the activation can be activated during the damage step. So you are pretty free to activate any effect. So if this card is summoned, you destroy one fire monster in your hand, deck, or field, and this card gains half of the equal attack. This is not really important. The most important stuff is that you can trigger any Fire King effect you need. So for example, you can trigger Kirin to pop a card. You can trigger the old Kirin to get access to your JURRAC engine. You can trigger Ulcanix to special summon OG Garunix. You could also trigger Garunix to special summon this card next turn. So it's a very flexible card, pretty useful, and it can special summon itself each turn just by crashing into any monster your opponent controls to destroy your own monsters and activate Garunix effect. I think the next one is OG Garunix. So during the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by card effect, special summon this card, and then you destroy all other monsters in the field. It's a pretty nice effect to get rid of all of the other monsters. And if this card is destroyed by battle, you just special summon one Fire King monster from your deck. And the pretty important part is that none of this effect is once per turn. The first one is soft once per turn in your graveyard. So if you got 2 copies, most of the time you just play 1 copy. But if you got 2 copies, you can activate both of them. And in the second effect, you can activate it as often as you are able to revive Garunix. So this is also a pretty cool effect to get access to your monsters, but it's rarely used. So next is the new Kirin. So during the main phase, you can destroy one other fire monster in your hand or field and special summon this card. The cool stuff is that you do not target. So even if your opponent removes the monster you want to destroy from your field, you can destroy a card in your hand instead, or another monster. But it's pretty useful to dodge targeting effects like, I don't know, Valor or Imperm. And if Kirin is destroyed, you can special summon one Fire King monster from your hand or graveyard, and then destroy one card on the field. And the cool stuff is, yeah, you will mostly use this during the damage step, and the Fire King monster you special summon is not negated. So next, it's the only negate you play. It's Avatar. It's not able to special summon itself, so it may be your normal summon if you don't get access to other stuff, or you can special summon it via Kirin. And if your opponent activates a monster effect, you destroy one other Fire King monster and negate the activation. And if Avatar is destroyed, you can target a different monster and special summon it, but it's negated and it's destroyed during the end phase. And there's a pretty cool combo. So you need Avatar and Kirin. And if Avatar is destroyed, special summons Kirin. And if Kirin is destroyed, special summons Avatar again. So Kirin doesn't have the effect on the field, so it does not matter that Avatar is negating the effect, or you can also special summon Garunix. You can special summon Ponix, so it will return to your hand during the next standby phase. And another useful monster is the old Kirin. It's only for the JURRAC engine, and if a face-up Fire King monster is destroyed, you can special summon this card from your hand. You rarely use it unless you really draw this card. But the main effect is, if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you send one fire monster from your deck to your graveyard. And you send Misc to the graveyard. And please don't ask me how this name is pronounced. I really don't know. You can banish Misc from your graveyard and special summon a Dino monster with a level equal to the number of monsters banished. And luckily our monster is level 1, so you just need Misc, banish itself, and special summon Megalo. And if Megalo is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you send one JURRAC monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. This doesn't sound really good, but the new JURRAC Astero has a pretty cool effect. During your opponent's turn, you banish 2 JURRAC monsters, so itself and Megalo. and special summon a Meteor from your extra deck, and this is treated as a synchro summon. And if this card is synchro summoned, you destroy all cards on the field. So you clear the board, and ideally you can use it on turn 0. I will show you later how this is possible. And yeah, then you can special summon tuner from your graveyard. You play exactly 2 tuners. One of them is Megalo, one of them is Ash Blossom, and this is not really a useful effect. So sometimes it is, but this is also the reason that Ghost Spell is able to negate a Meteor. And keep in mind that Ghost Spell is negating the activation. So Ghost Spell can be activated during the damage step to negate your Fire King monsters. So keep that in mind, that if your opponent plays Kewl Tune, they may have Ghost Spell in their hand. Okay, and at last, let's take a look at the extra deck. So we talked about the JURRAC engine, we talked about Ulcanix, but maybe we can check out the other effects. So the first one was if this card is summoned, destroy all other monsters in the field, and you can detach 1 material from this card and destroy a spell or trap. If this card is destroyed while it has material, you can special summon Fire King monsters from your graveyard up to the number of materials. So this is an OTK enabler. So at first you XC summon this card, destroy the whole field, and then you use Kirin to pop the card and special summon 2 cards from your graveyard. So Kirin is a high attack monster, and you special summon 2 other high attack monsters to OTK. Yeah, Typhon is just Typhon. I think I don't really need to explain the card. Almirage is pretty useful because it turns Joel and Fuvalos into a fire monster to just crash into your opponent or use Fire King Island. This Link Kuribo is just here because I don't know what else to add in my extra deck. I think I never summoned it. Sunlight Wolf can recycle a fire monster from your grave, but I really rarely use it. Hita is a pretty cool card. So you can just grab a fire monster from your opponent's graveyard to some Princess. And the other pretty cool aspect is if this card is destroyed, you can add a fire monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. And I don't know if some of you guys are old enough to know Rekindling. So the Flamewell archetype had this gimmick that all of its fire monsters had 200 defense. So Konami still releases some cards that reminds of Rekindling. So you will find 200 defense in many fire monsters like Ponix, Kirin, the old Kirin, and Avatar. So you can grab them if Hita is destroyed, and especially for the new Kirin it's pretty useful because it's a pretty good card, but you will rarely use this. Yeah, and Little Knight is just Little Knight, so I think it's a staple, and it should be a staple in all extra decks except you are locked out of Link monsters. Princess, yeah, it special summons any fire monster from your graveyard, so you can extend a bit, and if it's in your graveyard and your opponent special summons a monster, you can destroy 1 fire monster you control and one monster your opponent controls to special summon it. So it's also removal, and it also helps you to activate the effects of your Fire King monsters. And in this case I'm playing Embloale because yeah, I like it, it's a fire monster, and if it's destroyed you can special summon Link 3 or lower from either graveyard. I think most of the time you will summon your own because you will just try to summon Hita. So you have Princess in grave, and if a Link 3 or lower on your field is destroyed, you can banish it to destroy 1 card in the field. The last monster is Access Code Talker. I think you all know what it does. I think I never summoned it. And another topic I want to talk about is Snake Eye Fire King. So I think most of you guys know it was a meta deck for a pretty long time, and why I prefer the pure version with a small JURRAC engine, One of the biggest problems currently is the fact that the charmies exist and that too many people are playing at least 2 copies of any charmy. So for example, they play 2 to 3 Fuwalos or maybe Prolia, maybe both. And the Snake Eye version plays really bad into it. So you will need to give your opponent draws, otherwise your endboard is pretty weak. So I would not recommend playing the Snake Eye version currently, unless you really enjoy the deck and you are more or less an expert in it, because you are not able to play the consistent version of the Fire King cards, because yeah, you need to play a very big amount of Snake Eye cards and the Diabell cards, and maybe you want to also play Azamina and all of the other stuff. So you need to cut down your Fire King cards, and you more or less play Snake Eye and add a small Fire King engine to it to make it a little bit more stable, a little bit more resilient to hand traps. So you can maybe switch to the Fire King part, but I don't really think it's needed, because yeah, you more or less you just play a Link version of this deck. So you play the same Link cards and just try to get a really big board. But yeah, you lose to Fuwalos, to Prolia, to Maxx C, and this version is not. Maxx C can be a big problem depending on your hand. If you don't get access to many cards, then yeah, Maxx C is a problem. But Fuwalos and Prolia are not. You can very easily stop your plays if you got access to other stuff, because Green can activate during your opponent's turn. You can pop Ulcanix during your opponent's turn to get access to Garunix. You can activate this card whenever you need it. You can activate Megalord during your opponent's turn. So even though your opponent is Fuwalos, you in your turn, you are just like, okay. So for example, I just search Kirin with this card, or maybe you just search Garunix depending on your hand, and are like, okay, I got Kirin in my hand, and just stop everything I'm doing and just pop this in my opponent's turn. Or maybe if you already started your JURRAC engine, you just end on Megalo. It will get destroyed during the end phase, or do you pop it depending on your hand. For example, with Island or Ulcanix to grab Garunix or Kirin, and just, okay, so you got one draw. Have fun, it's your turn. Because I think, as you can see in the replays before or after this section, I don't know when this chapter, where this chapter will be in the whole guide, but you don't really need your extra deck. You don't really care if your JURRAC engine gets negated, so I'm more or less pretty happy if my opponent uses Ash. No. If my opponent uses Ash to negate Megalo, because then I know I'm free to activate Island. And yeah, you rarely summon Garunix, but this is your main play. But you don't really need it, so it may really depend on your opponent, because they will focus on destroying Sanctuary. But even in this situation, they will, yeah, destroy Sanctuary and leave your Island alone or the other cards you got, so they are pretty good bait. And I think that would be missing if you're playing the Snake Eye version, because yeah, for example, if you normal summoned Ash and try to special summon Popya and your opponent activates Maxx C, then yeah, what do you want to do? So you need to end on anything, but if you got these two monsters on your field, is pretty bad. And the follow-up you can search like the temple isn't really bad, isn't really good. It's what do you want to do? So you can you could add maybe Flame Burst to your back row, so you will do just one Link Summon. Maybe, I don't know, Little Knight. And then, yeah, okay. So you have Flame Burst in your back row and maybe it will get popped. And you can summon your weak Snake Eyes again. They are not doing anything, so it's pretty bad. And in this deck, it's much easier to just stop your combo, because as you see in the combos and the replays, I don't care that much because I don't do much. Also, you got enough space in your deck to play Imperm and Impulse. So I think personally this version is better than the Snake Eye version, unless your opponent doesn't get any hand traps. Then I think the Snake Eye version is the better version because the endboard is better. But currently we are playing in a meta where all of your opponents is playing like, I don't know, at least 10 hand traps. So they will open with at least 1 hand traps every time. I don't think it's worth it to play the Snake Eye version unless you really like the version or you really like Snake Eyes in general. Then it's fine, but especially for the older players who don't really like these combo decks, Yugi Boomers, play the JURRAC version, because I think it feels more like the older decks where you more or less interact with your opponent, check what your opponent is doing, and yeah. I really appreciate this deck because it reminds me of the good old times. It's not able to break really big boards and many negates, but honestly, how many other decks can do this? So most decks will lose to I don't know, 3 or 5 negates. You can't do anything. So this is one of the reasons that the Odeon stuff was on the ban list, because they really abused the counter traps. You can't do anything if your opponent activates the counter trap unless you play a Red Reboot. Who plays Red Reboot in the current meta? No one. So yeah, especially if you like slower decks, maybe JURRAC Fire King would be the perfect deck for you. And if we, I don't think the meta will change when it comes to hand traps, but if we got one day a meta with less hand traps, so maybe the meta decks are not are pretty hand trap resilient and people stop playing too many hand traps, or they need to play much engine so they can't play many hand traps, then maybe you can switch to the Snake Eye version. But otherwise, play this version instead. It's a pretty fun deck, and I think it's more consistent than other slower decks like Labyrinth. Because yeah, Labyrinth is much easier to negate. You need to do some stuff to comment to your plays, and I think this deck is a bit easier. So yeah, try to play it and have fun. So let's start looking at some combos. This is one of the main combos you can do. Grab Sanctuary, activate it to get the field spell. Use the field spell to pop Ponix on the field. And get the new Ulcanix, so you can trigger its effect to special summon it. And you can very easily destroy Ulcanix, so you get access to the OG Garunix. And depending on your hand, this can be your final endboard. So you will get Ponix back next turn. This is more or less a pretty awful card for your opponent, so you need to know how to deal with it, because either he can destroy it by card effect and needs to finish you in his first turn. Otherwise, it will come back next, stand by fast and destroy his whole field. Or he needs to attack it, and then you can just summon another Garunix, or maybe Ulcanix to search some stuff. So this is a much better endboard than it looked like. It may also depend on your hand. So in this case, you get Kirin to pop, for example, Garunix next turn. And in this case, you can also Exceed summon during your opponent's turn, so you can Exceed some Garunix. And I'm not really a big fan of links in this deck, so I try to avoid them, because the big problem is that if you link summon and your opponent, for example, negates Heater because you want to grab a monster from your opponent, then you get the problem that you only have Heater on your field and you lost the Garunix as a disruption. So try to keep your Fire Kings on the field. So another example is Ulcanix as your starter. Use Ulcanix to pop a fire monster. In this case it's Ponix, but does not really matter. Get Garunix. You can change the level of the monster and activate Garunix. And do the same. So it also depends on the monster you pop with Ulcanix, because depending on the monster, you can, for example, use Avatar to revive it and get Avatar engrave, or you could, for example, pop Kirin to get your JURRAC engine. So it's pretty good if you don't have anything else. So, for example, you don't have Island or Sanctuary, so you more or less have an empty field. This is most of the time when you just go for the JURRAC engine. Or you could, for example, pop Kirin and revive the monster you destroyed. So, for example, Ponix. No, we don't want to destroy, and get Island. So you can destroy Ulcanix, for example, and grab Kirin. So Ulcanix will summon the OG Garunix from your deck. So you got both Garunix in this example, so you can Exceed summon during your opponent's turn. You got an additional body on your field. You got Kirin to pop a monster. So you can also pop, for example, Garunix. So you Exceed summon with out Garunix and Kirin to destroy Ponix. So Garunix in your grave will trigger and resummon itself. And this time I will show you how to use Megalo on your opponent's first turn. So you will need to patiently wait until your opponent is finished with everything he's doing. So just ignore everything. It's the end of the main phase. So activate Kirin, destroy Megalo, summon Kirin, activate Megalo to dump Astero in your graveyard. Wait for the end phase, activate Astero. And some Meteor. And you can also start the JURRAC engine during your own turn by just drawing Misc. So activate its effect. and activate its effect again in the graveyard. So summon Megalo and yeah, do your stuff. And it will get destroyed during the end phase, so you can activate its effect and put Astero in your graveyard. And I think one of the big problems may be your opponent activates Maxx C, Fuva or anything else. So in this case, if you, for example, activated Ulcanix, pop Megalo and get Garunix, so you activate Garunix and your opponent is using Maxx C, you really need to decide what you want to do. So it may depend on your hand. In this example, you got Sanctuary and you could do some plays to get Kirin. So you play in your opponent's turn, but imagine you just got these two cards. Then you really need to decide what you want to do. So you can pop Ulcanix to summon Garunix. You could just pop Ponix. So it will add to your hand during the next standby phase. So you may use Ponix on your opponent's turn when he destroys one of your monsters. So this is a pretty good option. So this is a replay against Microsoft K9. The hand is nice and we already got Island, so it's fine to start with Ulcanix. Also Ponix can special summon itself, this plays into draw, but it's not a big deal because we got Island. We will ignore Fualos here because there's no need to pop Ulcanix yet, so we can do it in our opponent's turn because OG Garunix doesn't do anything. Yeah, we play Crow, but it's fine, so we got another Garunix in our hand. So we can just wait. Izuna is a problem because of Nash Knight, so we need to prevent her to dump Lupus. This endboard looks pretty bad, but actually it's a pretty good one, and we will win easily against Microsoft. Okay, he plays that in the column of Ulcanix, but I'm pretty sure he will not pop her. So in here we need to chain Kirin, because I want to trigger Sanctuary, and I need 2 materials on the field. Okay, destroy the whole field, chain block, I don't think we need it. I don't know why my opponent activated Impulse, because, yeah, the monster would get destroyed. Maybe he didn't read our Xyz monster. Yeah, that's it. So, let's take a look at this replay going second against Kewl Tune. While recording, OBS decided to not record my voice, so I need to do this some days later. When I was trying to cut the replay, so we only got 1 disruption, that's Impulse, and I think it's not really worth it to activate it at all. because I have like 3 normal summons. So if we just impulse one of these monsters or one of the cards, they will just activate another one. So just wait until it's our turn. And honestly, we don't really care for Kewl Tune. The only relevant card to negate stuff is RS, so we just need to destroy RS. Trackmaker can bounce a card, so we don't really care. Yeah. Most of the time we play main deck monsters, so just bounce them back to my hand, okay. You can bounce back Fire King Island, okay, so I will just activate it. And I think one of the biggest problem with this deck is that you need to have Q on the highest chaining. So my opponent does not really know I already got Megalo. And he's not able to see my hand because the other card was Fire King Sanctuary. And if he would know my hand, I think he would have stacked it on top of my deck. I guess he was looking at my hand and was like, oh, pretty easy opponent. Because yeah, the hand looks mid, I guess, but against Kewl Tune it's pretty good. Because I don't play any removals that can chain to your cards. Because the Synchro Summon, the effect, because I used as Synchro Materials, will activate a new chain link. So I already activated my Sanctuary or my Field Spell. So I don't really care, and all of this is hard ones per turn. So I think they are not able to pop our Field Spell. And I guess I was thinking of using Impulse to negate the Synchro. So the Quick Spell Synchro or Clip. Because I was pretty sure that my opponent will definitely not end on Remix here, because he knows my hand, he knows I got Impulse, and I definitely would negate Remix. Yeah, the matchup against Kewl Tune is pretty good for Fire King, so we can just wait and clear the board. I think the card I'm most scared of are the hand traps. I don't know why he summoned Remix, because it doesn't make much sense. I got Impulse, he know I got Impulse. And I will definitely negate Remix. Yeah, bad top deck, but I guess it's fine, because we will be able to summon Garunix this turn. Yeah, just do our plays, because he has no option to negate it unless he's randomly playing MST, but I never heard of a Radiant Typhoon, Kewl Tune hybrid deck, so I don't care. So you can either destroy the OG Garunix or Megalo, but for the OG Garunix we have some options to summon him, so it's more useful to destroy Megalo and try to get access to the JURRAC engine. And let's grab Ulcanix, because we don't really need Ponix here. We already got everything. I don't know why he ashed Megalo, because your main ash target should always be Island. So he knew my hand, and there's no possibility to get Ulcanix at Deborah's Island, but maybe he is not familiar with Fire King. So maybe he didn't play during the Snake Eye Fire King meta. Yeah. Impulse. Don't know why he changed Clip. But I guess he's not familiar with Fire King because he's not able to negate Kirin. Yeah, he could summon Ares, and he can summon Loudless War. Loudless War would be, I think, a bit better, but still useless. Ares is completely useless because what card does he want to negate? So there's no card on the field to negate. So I think Loudless War would be the much better choice. Don't know why he really wanted to destroy Sanctuary. It's not like I will summon XC summon during my turn. So I can just destroy Ares, and Trackmaker only has 2500 defense. Yeah, let's summon Garunix from our hand and destroy Ares. So we could also destroy the back row, but our opponent isn't doing anything, so I guess the back row is some dead stuff. Yeah, we cleared nearly all of his options without enormous summon. Yeah, that's Kewl Tune. So I'm pretty sure you will summon Loudless War with Mix to destroy one of our monsters, so likely the new Garunix, and bounce back OG Garunix. Yeah. But again, as you can see, he lost all of his options except for this one Loudless War, and I did not even normal summon this turn. Let's summon Ponix to check for other toggles, but I think it's just Loudless War. the back row seems to be some dead card. In this case you can get a new Sanctuary, but Skyburn is a much safer option because you can destroy the field spell and they are not able to get it back. And the field spell is a really powerful card. I prefer to always end on Kirin in the hand. So let's get Kirin. Loudless War is able to pop anything I got, so I'm pretty sure he will pop Island. You could summon Heater here, because Rico is a fire monster, but I don't think it's worth it because we got Skyburn. In honesty, I don't know why he did not just pop Skyburn, but maybe he really wanted to destroy Island. The Loudless War itself is a pretty useless card, unless of DS1 you can copy an effect. So even if he destroyed Skyburn, it's not much big of a deal, because I would destroy it with Garunix. And I decided to just wait, because Fire King Island will activate in a new chain, so I can pop all of his 3 cards. It's not like I really needed it, but I didn't really know what the back row is. And all of my cards would get destroyed, so it does not really matter. It's more or less an overkill. But the most important thing for me was to destroy the field spell. Yeah, the set card was super poorly. I don't know why he never activated it. Maybe he doesn't play targets. But I don't really get it, because you can just you just need to play Garura or New Dragon. But I don't know. So maybe he never felt like it. I choose to summon Kirin, because you can pop Kirin with your Kirin in the hand to destroy a card. Because if the single hand card is a Kewl Tune monster, he can recover pretty easily. And just pop the monster on the field would be enough. Unless it's Q would be a problem. But as you can see, it's definitely not a Kewl Tune monster, because he's thinking way too long. So I think it's a pretty useless, yeah, it's a pretty useless hand trap. I didn't know what he got, so I decided to revive Avatar. Always get your Ponix first, so you can activate its effect when Garunix destroys stuff. So it's a mandatory effect, so you have to do this. Yeah, you could use Skyburn here, because it's already over, but yeah, it's already over, so no matter what our opponent got, unless he got Ghost Bell. So Ghost Bell could be a problem, but we got Garunix. And yeah, I forgot to activate Garunix, but it's not really a problem. We will just normal summon it. Don't really understand that the single card is Veiler. Okay, so just surrender, I guess, because Veiler is not stopping a Fire King deck. In this case, you don't have any other cards, and we have more than enough options. So yeah, the matchup against Kewl Tune is pretty good, especially if your opponent seems to be a new Kewl Tune player. But even in Diamond and Master, you will see many of them. Okay, this is fine, I guess. Unless our opponent is negating Ulcanix. This is really pretty bad. Okay. So this is a little bit more unsafe. It's a more unsafe play. Plays into draw. Nope. But opponent doesn't have draw. Nothing, so just destroy another Ulcanix. It's not like I will need another one. Summon Ponix. Sometimes you have the problem that you will need to take a risk, for example playing into draw, because otherwise your end board is much weaker. But it's not, it wouldn't be that bad if your opponent had draw, because you can activate Ponix during your opponent's turn. I destroy Ponix and grab Kirin, and I guess that's it. Don't be greedy. The monsters on the field are much more useful than link monsters. You can play, you could have played link stuff here, but if your opponent decided to negate one of your link monsters, then yeah, more or less you lost everything. And it's pretty hard to deal with the old guy of Brunix for most other decks, because many of them will destroy. And Garunix does not care. So hopefully we can do a Maxx C summon. And even though if... Okay. We got draw. So depending on our opponent's hand, we will be able to just draw them and win because of draw. But it may depend on our opponent's hand. No. Yes. Oh. He already got the other Diabell spell. Oh my god. Always. It's limited. It's fucking limited. yeah. Most of the time they only play one tails. So opponent could have get the field spell, but if he activated the field spell, he's not able to summon the big dark diabell monster, because the field spell says you cannot summon dark for the rest of the turn. So I think it's fine if he already had the field spell. He already used his normal summon, so I don't know what he would trying to search with the field spell. No. Yeah, can't do much, but we can just destroy Ponix if we need Kirin, but I think we won't need Kirin. So if you play Fire King, most of the time you will need to know your opponent's deck, because you just know you have some removals in Fire King and you don't get anything else, so you have just one negate, that's Avatar, most of the time. Okay, you don't have Avatar. And if you did not get Avatar, then you don't have any negate, you just have no. I don't want the synchro on the field. And then now he's not able to summon the other diabell monster because of the field spell. So I'm fine. Let's destroy Ponix. Yes. Just some random Ash. Not doing anything, but you can destroy it via Kirin. Or if it's destroyed by battle, you can activate Ulcanix. Yes. So if he summon anything else, we will just try to pop. He's not able to summon the other diabell monster, so he may just summon the light one. I think you need to discard a spell trap, I don't know, to summon her. But I'm pretty sure he already got it, because he did not activate the search effect. So I think he's he already got the normal. Yes, exactly this. Yeah, but he's not able to summon it. Because of the field spell. So here, it's a field spell. You can just not from the extra deck, I guess. Ah, okay, it's not just extra deck. Okay. No, no synchro summon. Okay. I don't really care who is destroying Ash. I think I need to destroy I guess I need to destroy this one, because otherwise he can pop Island. yeah. So if you play against Red Forest, it's pretty easy. They need a lot of resources to do their plays. So just try to remove, negate, whatever, all of their resources, and then it's that. The matchup against Fire King is pretty cool. Unless they go first, you don't have anything, and they are last. They are like half the board with 20 negates, and then yeah, you just lost. But I think White Forest has one of the best end boards in the game. It's an okay. And I guess special summon from your deck. Special summon from your deck. Yeah, no. Can do it. It's fine. But I will draw. I don't know, is Hecahands searching much? Or can they draw me? Oh, that's nice. Ponix is nice. Ponix is nice. And if the monster, you can special summon it to your field. Okay. Okay. Do it. Do it. Yeah. Yeah. You could have sent it a Ponix instead, but okay. But I think you can fuse either with Ponix. Sadly, you are monster. Okay. Ooh, nice. Ooh, this is pretty hard to decide, honestly. Misc, I guess. Maybe I should have sent it Golems instead. Okay. Okay. Keep whatever you want. Oh my god. You can't just activate Avatar. Okay. I'm waiting for a fusion card. Why did I draw a card? Why did I draw a card? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Okay. That's it? That's it? Just this? Okay. Okay. Nothing more? Just cannot be destroyed by battle because it's a illusion monster. Okay. That's not pretty good. I don't know what this does, but it's a counter trap. Counter traps are always. Oh my god, what are you doing? Do I want to negate zombie vampire? Do I want to negate? Do I really care? Do I really care? Yeah, just do it. Just do it. I think he cannot search anything. Okay. Honestly, I don't know what he's trying to accomplish, so just wait so we can later pop Ulcanix. Ooh, nice. Nice. Ah, this is it. Okay, and then you get a special summit. No. I'm waiting for a fusion spell. Yeah, that's not doing anything, so fine. That's it? This needs to be normal sound? No? Okay. So... what's more important? What's more important? So let's try to have some fun, I guess. Okay. I guess Kirin. God, I have. Yeah, I have to. What else should I do, honestly? This. Yes. This. Pop this. Get Kirin. Yes. What was this? He got more lucky than I am. When you place this by a trap card. Okay. I don't care. Oh my god, what is this again? Okay. So he's forced to negate Ulcanix. Really? You don't want? Okay. If you destroy him, he will come back. Then you can special summon this one. Yeah. Okay. No, don't destroy my monsters. This is pretty bad for you, but okay, this is your problem, not mine. No. No. What this is? Fusion sum. No, no fusion sum. Okay. was playing one Chimera Fusion because he wasn't able to search. Okay. Will be destroyed, so I think the ultra rare would be the best option. The one that discards. No, he's using this, but you can just summon banished monsters. We want to summon. No, you can't even summon Ash. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, honestly, this is OTK. Okay, I didn't really understand Hecahands, but yeah. Maybe he was just a beginner. And I really wanted to show you some Duel Live replays where people lost, but I forgot to record some good examples in the past. So I think that's missing. Because maybe you will do the same mistakes as these people did, and I could explain to you what you should have done in these situations, but maybe I will be able to find some replays in the future, because currently whenever I'm checking Duel Live, literally there are no Fire King replays. So I think no one is playing this deck, and I don't really understand that. JURRAC Fire King may not be the best rogue deck for Master, so for the Master rank, because as higher you get on the ladder, the more experienced your opponents will be. So they won't do many mistakes. They already know Fire King, they know how to play against this deck. So it will be much harder to trick them or to bait them as in lower ranks. But even in Diamond, it's pretty easy to use this deck. So maybe you can just switch in the Master rank to, I don't know, a better rogue deck like Sky Striker. Or if you're really passionate about Fire King, you can still keep this deck. But I think the run to Master run will be pretty hard. Because the big problem of this deck is that you can't really break through big boards. And depending on your hand, the deck is not the most consistent one. So if you open with, like, I don't know, Tumigalo and maybe Ponix and some, I don't know, maybe Imperm and Impulse, and your opponent is negating Ponix and maybe is destroying your Imperm or will just ignore it. So you have these two dead bodies on your hand, and maybe Impulse, and maybe he is ignoring it because he is playing a top tier deck. So he can play through 2 disruptions, and you don't have any extenders, then you just lost. So it's not really a possibility to play through this. And all the back row removal decks like Radiant Typhoon or Sky Striker or anything like that, or non-target destroy or banish or anything like that, will be really hard. Also floodgates like Shifter. I think this may be fine depending on the deck your opponent is playing, because you can still play Imperm and Impulse and maybe survive one turn. Also you can activate Ash doing Shifter, but it really depends on your hand if you are able to do anything. So for example, if your opponent activates Shifter in his first turn and he's not able to summon a really big board, then you may just, I don't know, set Megalo or set Ulcanix or anything like that during your turn, because Shifter is active for 2 turns, and then you may be able to win. But if your opponent is creating a really big board, or if he's able to Shifter you in your first turn, then most of the time you will lose, unless you are playing against, I don't know, Odeon or anything like that. So decks that will not finish you in 1 turn, then this may be okay, because Odeon isn't that big of a deal, because these traps destroy when they negate and they have another strap. So they have to destroy, so it's not like you can choose to not destroy. This destruction effect is always applied when there's a trap. So this is not that big of a deal, unless your Odeon opponent is like having, I don't know, 1 engine card and 4 non-engine cards. Yeah, then it's game. But I think this is a problem for most other decks. And one of the reasons that the Odeon stuff is on the ban list. Because, yeah, it's pretty hard to play through multiple really good negates. You cannot negate because, for example, Impulse or Purge. How do you want to negate them? Especially in, I don't know, your opponent's or your own turn, first turn, or your opponent's first turn. I don't know. So don't get me wrong, it's pretty hard to activate this stuff in your own first turn, because your opponent needs to control a card. But especially when we are talking about turn 0 plays, then it's possible to negate during your first turn. So this may be a problem for this deck, but I think until you are in master rank, it's a pretty good deck actually, because most people don't really know it. So I can really recommend trying out JURRAC Fire King. One problem I always got with this deck, and this is why I never built it before. So I built it in April. It's always on the list in events. So at least one of these guys is limited. I think most of the time it's Kirin. Sometimes Garunix is banned. Because the big problem is that Konami knows that you don't really need your extra deck. So even if Xyz is an option in, for example, the Duel triangle, then you are still not allowed to play Fire King, because Konami knows you don't really need your Garunix. Xyz, it's not part of your main engine. So it was pretty frustrating for me to craft this deck, or to buy the packs to get this deck, because it's really expensive. Honestly, this is an ultra rare, this is an ultra rare, this, and the and this. And also the JURRAC engine is ultra rare, so it's a really expensive deck. I mean, just check out, nearly all of my cards are ultra rare, so it's really expensive, and then you are not even able to use it in events. You can only use it on the ladder, and there you have the problem that in master rank it's really hard to play this deck. It's kind of frustrating, but it also depends on the meta. So for example, Ghost Spell is a problem because it can be activated during the damage step, and as I showed you, or tried to show you, that your main plays are on the damage step. So maybe you guys want to wait until the Kewl Tune stuff is done, but honestly just surrender. If you know you play against Kewl Tune and you know you can't do anything, you don't have any plays, they negated everything, you don't have access to Garunix or Kirin, or they negated everything you do, like your island, Ulcanix, anything like that, just surrender. But I hope I tried to show you that it's really possible to win against Kewl Tune. The matchup is okay. Maybe Elf Note is a bit harder, but it's not full power yet. So I think it's a really good deck, and it will never ever be on the ban list. So just try it. If you really like it, try it. But if you want to have a better road deck, honestly, play Sky Striker. So I am pretty sure that Sky Striker will never be on the ban list. Or maybe they will just, I don't know, limit, semi-limit, engage or anything like that. But I think Konami will never do this. I think it's a fun deck, and you will enjoy it. So try to make some comments. So hopefully you will get another version, maybe 2 or 3 different versions until this guide is finished. Yeah, that's it.